Welcome to the channel. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. So join me on today's video where I'll be doing a product review. I've had this watch winder sent in to me by the guys over at Enigwatch, and to be absolutely honest, it's been that long. I've had it around 7 or 8 months. They probably thought I've stolen it and they've not heard nothing from me. But as watch winders go and products and watch accessories, they're not at the top of my priority. Obviously, I'm here to do watches, and I've previously looked at other watch winders as well, and you guys know my thoughts on watch winders. No matter how good and amazing they are, I don't think there's actually any need at all to have a watch winder. There's no science behind it. The watches are all modern, even going back to watches from the 80s, 90s. They use, good quality oils. So you don't actually need one, but at the same time, you don't need 40 or 50 watches as well. So that's my viewpoint on watch winders. However, they've given this to me, so I feel like, I don't want to feel bad. I feel like I owe them a bit of a video and to give you guys a review. So as I said, I've looked at one already and I've still got it somewhere. I don't actually use watch winders. Even the box I received before, I'll put the video up if I can find it. I've had no use for it because I've got 3 boxes which hold my collection. I've got 40 plus watches. And again, for me, with the way I review and stuff, I don't have a display area for my watches where I can, afford to use the space and put these on there. And even this one, I've only recently had a good look at it, assessed it because I thought it's time to do a review. And, I'm just going to give you my 2 pence, my opinion on it if you are looking for a very high-end watch winder. So don't get it wrong. I'm not here to sell it to you guys. I'm not, trying to be a salesman for these. I'm just showing you what I have here, if it's good, if it's not. Because if you are going to spend that kind of money, it's worth probably getting a nice one. So, enough waffling by me. This is from Enigwatch. It's called the Virtuoso Series 2 watch winder. And the first thing, right, let me just blow your mind with the price. It comes in 2 options, and this is something I don't really understand. You've got a vegan leather option, right? But the whole box is made out of noble ebony, Macassa wood grain, and engineered leather, but I don't see where the leather is. The only 2 places where you could have any bit of leather is these spongy sort of inserts, but they're not even leather. They're absolute foam. So what I'm looking at the website, it is absolutely baffling me. I don't really know where the leather option is. So the vegan leather option is £532. You've got 19% sale on at the moment, which you know is a bit of a riffraff. But if you look at the Napa version, it's just under £1,000 at £970. So straight away, you guys are not going to be buying this if you're going to, use it to put 2 of your San Martins in there, or a Pagani design, or a Cadison. This is obviously going to appeal to the guys with maybe the Rolex, Omegas, a watch which is probably worth 4 or 5 grand, if not more. Then you can obviously justify spending one of these. But again, it's totally up to you, right? And this is only a 2 watch holder. They sell many more. They've got 12 watch holders. They've got cabinets which hold 12 watches, but they're about 10 grand. So these guys here probably are one of the most, I'll say high-end ones that you get. Now, in hand, accessories wise, you do get a plug, which you have to use here. And one thing I can tell you about the plug, let me take it out, accessories wise, the plug wire is very short, right? It's just under 1 meter or barely 1 meter. Now, that means you've got to have a plug point quite close. One of my last watch winders, which were much cheaper, they had a battery option, so you have to get the big fat batteries and put about 6 of them in there, which makes it wireless, cordless, which is great. Then you also get a remote, which needs batteries, obviously, and you get a key. Now, when you take a look at the key, this made me laugh out loud. So anything with tassels and a leather pouch, that's premium, yeah? The leather, maybe they're talking about this. This is the Napa leather key pouch, which is going to bump up the price to £970. And the key, is like a solid triangular key. Nothing too complicated, I don't think, but they're calling it a very secure system. But I mean, again, check that out. It's all about the accessories. Anything tasseled is worth money. Now, having looked at the function, let's try the key. Let's see how it sounds actually. Yeah, it's a normal click, not £1,000 click, but there you go. Now, so some of the specifications on this, and again, I've got no way of testing it. I'm not a watch winder expert, but they are saying that they have EMI RFI protection. So there is metal or copper foil layer within this box to give you protection against electromagnets and radio frequency interference. I don't know what they're trying to keep in here. Maybe that is for your GPS quartz watches, but then you don't need a watch winder for a quartz watch. So I don't know if these specs are there just for the sake of it, whether or not you need it. You also got an LED lamp with a lifetime of 50,000 hours. Obviously, I'll show you how that works. And you actually have a touch screen. So once I plug it in, I'll show you there's a touch screen here. It gives you all the options. So when I opened it and assessed some of the build quality, it is made really well. You know, you can't get away from it. They have done something to give it that quality. So the wood grain or the wood used, I mean, the front panel is gloss black, highly polished, of course, with a scratch magnet. You've got a glass, quite a thick glass see-through display over here. When we turn the box over, this is your Macassa wood grain, highly polished, and it seems to be like a solid wood grain because you can see very small kind of defects in there. Not too many. I think there's one in the corner here. And yeah, nice clean lines, very good. And in the back, this is very basic metal plate. You put your DC 5V in there, your on-off switch, and I think it's a rotation button. I don't know why they've got that, because you've got a remote. So anyway, in terms of internal build quality, looking at the smaller things, right, you've got, when you open this, the first thing I noticed was just how well the hinge and the metalwork was in there. So if you check these hinges out, look, you've got 4 hinges, and these are really high quality hinges. You've got plastic insets between to, you know, increase longevity. They're sunken into the wood, really nice, flattened screws, no defects there. Even the hinges are fully brushed here. So if you take a look at just the hinge work, you know that's solid there. You've got a soft material on the inside, could be suede, but I'm not gonna assume. But it's very cleanly finished. You don't see any, how can I put it, any glue marks or any rough cuts. The insides have been polished, but here, I don't know if you can catch that in the light, they've left obvious polishing marks. So for £900, that's not what I expect to see, to be honest. Now, again, some more metalwork on the frame. Really, I'm sorry, my setup doesn't allow for me to reach out far enough because that's why this box looks massive. But yeah, nice, solid metalwork here. And when you do close it, you've got this latch system. You know, you get a satisfying click, and it does kind of hold it, so it's not going to swing open. Now, more on the internals before I switch it on. These watch holders, these are quite cool, right? So you actually squeeze the sides, and it allows you to pull it out. Okay, now these foam inserts also go in there, so I don't know how or why yeah, that's the way you do it. You'd strap your watch to it and use that. But I found these quite well made. £500 worth, I don't know. And I think maybe there's this part here that seems leatherish as well, and the bottom feels like leather, so it could be either vegan or Napa, depending on what you choose. But you've got a spring loaded system here. And this foot here also slides, and it gives you a bit of leather there. So it's got a few options on how to put your watch on the winder, and this is probably the best one I've seen. Usually you just have cushions, but this system, I did try it on one of the watches. So I've got a normal watch here, and the way I would do it is, obviously you'd close the clasp, and whatever your wrist sizing is, that's where it needs to fit in. So that spring loaded system is quite handy. And this is where you could remove the foot if your wrist size was a bit small. I don't need to on this one, but we'll take it out and show you. Now, with that spring-loaded system, that watch is now secure. It doesn't move with, obviously, all the leather padding, etc. And it's protecting aspects of your watch, as you know, so it doesn't get damaged. And literally, you then go ahead, slide this in. Now, they do have anti-magnetic features within this case here. It does protect. Obviously, you need that protection because you've got mechanical rotors, which obviously use magnets. And there you go. You're ready to go. You put your watch in there. Now I've got to find a way to actually switch it on and plug it in. So that short cable isn't really helping me out too much. Now, unfortunately, the only way I can show you this now is I've got to take the phone off the holder. So I do apologize about all the shaking that you're probably going to see. But yeah, let's give this an open. I've just propped it up so I can show you this. Part of the reason I don't like reviewing watch winders because they're too big and my station doesn't allow it. But anyway, let's switch it on and press the on button from the back, and there you go. So that screen is actually a touch screen. I didn't have any batteries to hand. And I didn't want to go look for them, so that makes it quite handy. So you press that button there, you can see the LED. Apparently you've got different options which you can potentially operate with the remote. Line 1 and line 2 is you choose the winder, so this is number 2, and you choose, I think, your winding speed or duration. Set your direction, you can have it one way or the way or both way, will keep switching around, and then just press on. And there you go, the watch is rotating, and they state the motor is quiet down to, I'd say, 10 decibels. It uses a silent Japanese Mabuchi rotor. Now, it's not whisper quiet, and it isn't silent by any means. You can hear it now if I just shut my mouth. Right, and that's both rotors running. So if we switch it to one rotor, well, we're going to keep them both running just for argument's sake. Now, when we close the box, okay, so that isn't whisper quiet, but this room is quite silent. So If you had this in a very quiet room as a display thing, you know, walking in the room, you'd definitely hear it spinning in the background. But if you had background noise which was sufficient, like maybe the TV, kids, people running around in the house, you potentially won't hear it as loud, but I still think, you know, you'd be aware of it. So it's not super silent, but I suppose they could do with a bit more soundproofing in there, considering this is supposed to be a mid-tier, at least, you know, mid-tier sort of watch box. I don't know how high end they go, but like I said, they've got a 10 grand cabinet. So yeah, this is, I think, the full review. I don't think I've left anything else out in terms of, you know, this watch finder. And like I said at the start of the video, you know, if you've got your 5 to 8, 10 grand watches, if not more, and you want something nice to look at as a bit of a toy, then yeah, this is going to be for you. But I don't imagine you're going to buy one of these to put in your San Martin and a Cadison in there, which is obviously what we're all into. And neither would I buy it, because I don't think you need one. But in terms of build quality, I think it's really good. It's the best one I have seen. Of course, for that £500 mark, it's going to have some good things in there. The best thing for me is those holders. They are quite different, quite unique, and I like how they work with the watch. And I quite like that leather patch for your key with, of course, that all-important tassel. So that's it from me today. Let me know your thoughts in the sections below. I don't know if anyone's bought one, or would you even buy one? Let me know what you think anyway. That's it from me today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.